Hi everyone, it's Chris from Hope Club. We're going to hear a really amazing story from Miss Kathy, continuing our series on Moses. You guys remember Moses, how he was talking to a burning bush last time? Well, if you didn't see that, you can go back and you can watch the last episode. But if you did, or even if you didn't and you just want to go forward, here's Miss Kathy's great story.
This is the story of Moses and how God used him to free the Israelite people from the slavery that they were under in Egypt. God made a promise to the Israelites that he would free them, that he would let them go. So he told Moses and his brother Aaron to go to Egypt and see the Pharaoh, who's the leader of all the Egyptians and over all the Israelites. God told Moses, go to Pharaoh and tell him to let the Israelites go. Now he's going to be very stubborn, and it will take many signs and miracles before he will let you go. But everyone will know that I am God and I keep my promises when he finally frees the Israelites. So Moses and Aaron did what God asked them to do, and they went to see Pharaoh. In front of Pharaoh, Aaron threw down his staff and it became a snake, which is just what God told Moses it would do. Well, Pharaoh, he didn't look surprised at all. He actually just smiled at Moses and Aaron. Without a word, he snapped his fingers, and a minute later, 3 men walked in. Pharaoh whispered in one of the men's ears, and he nodded, spoke quietly to the others. All at the same time, they threw their staffs they were carrying to the ground, and they became snakes, just like Moses and Aaron's. They turned and looked at each other with disappointment. They realized that these men were Pharaoh's magicians. Just as Moses was feeling defeated, his snake swallowed up all the other snakes. This made Moses smile. Surely Pharaoh would let them go now. But Pharaoh didn't seem to care. He shook his head and said, "Nice try. But the Israelites belong to me, and they work for Egypt, and I will not let them go." Moses left disappointed, but excited to talk to God about what they were supposed to do next. Because he knew that God keeps his promises. He knew he couldn't lose hope. After all, God had told them it wouldn't be easy. So when God spoke next, they listened well. Pharaoh's heart is hard. He's still not going to change his mind. Go see him tomorrow morning. He didn't listen today, but I will continue to show him that I am God. With their instructions from God, Moses and Aaron met Pharaoh the next morning. Aaron explained to Pharaoh, because you still won't listen, God is going to change all the water in Egypt into blood. The fish will die, the river will stink, and none of the Egyptians will be able to drink it. Pharaoh smiled and said, "Go ahead." So Aaron did what the Lord told him and put his staff in the water, and it turned to blood. Pharaoh seemed a little surprised, but he summoned his magicians, and they also turned the water into blood. With that, Pharaoh's heart became hard, and he turned and walked back to his palace. All the fish died, and the water smelled so bad. No matter where you were, they could smell it. Ugh, what a stink that must have been. Can you imagine turning on your tap and having blood come out without having a bath? You could have a bath, or even there would be blood in the water in your toilet. Ugh. Of course, the Egyptians didn't have sinks and toilets back then, but they still used water to drink, to make food, and to clean with. Well, after a whole week of this, Pharaoh still wouldn't let the Israelites go. But his magicians couldn't turn the blood back into water either. The Lord instructed Aaron and Moses to go see Pharaoh once again. And he told them, "Tell Pharaoh to let my people go. If he refuses to let them go, I will send a plague of frogs to the whole country." They did as God asked, and Pharaoh once again refused to let the people go. So Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and frogs came up and covered everything. They really were everywhere, in the stoves where they cooked, in their beds, and they even jumped on the people. The magicians could also make frogs appear, but this would be the last time that their magic would work. After a day of this, Pharaoh couldn't take it anymore, and he called for Moses and Aaron. He probably didn't get any sleep with frogs jumping all over him. He begged Moses, "Pray to the Lord to take the frogs away from me and my people, and I will let your people go." So Moses prayed to the Lord, and all the frogs died. But when Pharaoh saw that all the frogs were dead, he was relieved. But he hardened his heart and changed his mind once more. There were many other plagues that followed. Gnats and flies. All the livestock got sick and died. The Egyptians were covered in sores. Hail came down and killed all the crops. Locusts came and ate all the grass and everything green. And then there was complete darkness. Nobody left their homes because they couldn't even see where they were going. With each of these plagues, Pharaoh said he'd let the Israelites go if God put things back to normal. But then he kept changing his mind. You'd think he would have learned his lesson and let the Israelites go, because God doesn't give up. You may have felt sorry for the Israelites during all these plagues, but God made sure they were not touched by them. Only the Pharaoh and his people, the Egyptians, went through these terrible times. The Israelites lived a little ways away, and God kept them safe and put a pretend wall around them so none of the plagues could come to them. If you thought all the other plagues were bad, there was one last plague. The 10th plague that was way worse than any of the others. The Lord told them, "This will be the last plague on Pharaoh in Egypt. After this, they will let you go. Around midnight, I will go throughout Egypt. Every firstborn son in Egypt will die, even the son of Pharaoh, and there will be great sadness." Moses and Aaron warned Pharaoh, but he refused to listen. The Lord had special instructions for Moses and Aaron so that the Israelites would be sure to stay safe during the last plague. He told them the Israelites must kill their best sheep or goat. Then they are to take some of the blood and smear it on the sides and tops of the doors on their houses. On that same night, I will pass through Egypt like a ghost and take the life from every firstborn. If I see blood on the doorway, that will be a sign for me to pass over the house and keep all who are inside safe. This day will always be known as the Passover, because you were passed over and kept safe by God. You will continue to celebrate this day. They were also to eat unleavened bread. This would always remind them of the hurry that they left Egypt in. Now you have to remember, Pharaoh could have stopped all this a long time ago. God gave him many opportunities to let the Israelites go, but he'd not listen. He just wouldn't listen. Unfortunately, God had to teach Pharaoh a lesson, and he did what he said he would do. After Pharaoh realized what happened in Egypt, he called for Moses and Aaron just after midnight. And he said, "Leave my people, you and all the Israelites. Go worship the Lord as you wanted. Take all your animals and get out of here." The Israelites gathered up gold and silver from the Egyptians, who were glad to see them leave, and they left with Moses. God kept his promise, and the Israelites went free.
Whoa, that was quite the story, eh, guys? Well, just remember that when God promises something, no matter what seems to stand in the way, God's promises always come true. Because God loves us. And remember, why do we have a Heart and Hope Club? Because God's love brings us hope. God bless.